The Trump White House, as President Trump and his staff are off to a fast start in the new administration, delivering on day one promises and moving full speed ahead. And President Trump began his week with a series of executive orders dismantling the DEI madness inside our government. First, he put all federal employees in DEI positions on leave. Then he cut funding for all DEI programs and directives across the federal government. But he did not stop there. President Trump directed the Office of Management and Budget to end all related mandates, policies, and programs across agencies. President Trump also revoked a Lyndon Johnson-era affirmative action executive order and made it clear that hiring decisions must be based on merit. It's all very historic. It is powerful and promises that are being delivered. It will reshape our government and our country for the better. And it also sends a message to the private sector that discrimination will no longer be tolerated. And here is President Trump last night sitting down with Sean Hannity in the Oval Office. Watch.
A civil trial, a criminal trial, conviction, sentencing, Jack Smith, D.C., Florida, Fonnie Willis. I mean, you fought through all of that to get back right here in this office. What people don't know is over there's a little red button you push. You scare people. People think it's the nuclear button, but it's really,
something else.
It's you use it for a different purpose. But the question I have, it was, at any point, did you doubt you would be back here?
So it's a great question. It's something I don't think about. I never really thought about it. I don't think about, gee, will I be back? I just do it. I get it done. I get things done. I'm good at getting things done, and I set my mind to it.
And joining me now, senior editor at the Daily Signal, author of the new book, Woketopus, Tyler O'Neill. Tyler, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thanks so much, Kimberly. It's Woketopus.
Oh, Woketopus. Sorry. Oh, like an octopus. No, okay, fine. So this book comes at a perfect time as President Trump is dismantling these destructive DEI frameworks. Because for too long, America's bureaucrats have been living on a different planet, let's be honest, from the rest of us, and now they are getting a reality check. The book has a, striking name, like you said, Woketopus. I love that. But what does that refer to, and what's the reality check that you deliver?
Yeah, so I've been really inspired by President Trump's first week in office. Everything he's been doing has just been fantastic. The MAGA agenda is making waves in this administration, in the federal government. But the deep state is going to fight back. What we're already seeing is these woke bureaucrats preparing to oppose President Trump's agenda from within. 64% of DC-based bureaucrats who voted for Kamala Harris said they wouldn't follow a legal order from Trump if they thought that it was bad policy. And my book exposes the infrastructure of the left that is upholding this woke mind virus and keeping it in the federal government for as long as they possibly can. And so President Trump is doing a tremendous job with his MAGA agenda, pushing it out of the government. But it's going to be a hard fight. This battle is far from over. This is the opening salvo. And hopefully these people are getting terrified, but we're starting to see them retrench and prepare to oppose him from within, while others are going to the nonprofits I talk about in my book that are funded by people like Alex Soros, who pledged today that he's going to oppose, that he's going to fight President Trump's agenda. And how is he going to do that? Through funding the Woketopus and keeping it fighting from the outside.
Okay, so I like this, and it's a very catchy title indeed. Discuss a little bit further for us. Talk about the manipulation of federal agencies to promote radical agendas, and about the impact of President Trump's, day one orders that he implemented. How quickly can this whole DEI framework be dismantled? Because people have been waiting with bated breath for this.
Yeah, so Trump is doing a great job dismantling it from the top, but it's going to be harder to do so from the bottom, which is why I'm really glad we're going to have DOJ with its separate little offices inside of all the agencies across the federal government. But at the same time, they have their work cut out for them because these far left groups, what they do, they're really brilliant. They send their staff into the federal agencies that work with the agency to advise them. And sometimes these woke groups from outside write official memos for the agencies to publish. And this was a scandal in 2009. They found that this was happening all throughout the Bureau of Land Management, which I call the other BLM. But these agencies are constantly working with them. And what we found is the Human Rights Campaign, which is pushing the gender insanity through the nines, the Human Rights Campaign released a document saying exactly what they wanted from the Biden administration. And the administration essentially said, you want us to jump how high? Some of the things they implemented, Border Patrol were told not to refer to an illegal alien as he or she until they figured out what their pronouns were. This is in the middle of a border crisis. They're told, focus on pronouns, not enforcing the law. But these nonprofits have staffed the agencies and gotten their cronies throughout the federal government. What we've seen as Biden leaves office is some of these activists going back to these agencies and preparing to fight Trump from outside. So the ACLU is already gearing up lawsuits to stop the mass deportation of illegal aliens. They're going to fight to keep the border crisis a crisis because they benefit from it and it harms the American people.
Well, what do you think the pushback to all this looks like from the administrative state? Is President Trump kind of flooding the zone with such force that we can actually get our government back to working for, we the people?
Yeah, I'm very confident that what he started to do is going to make a tremendous impact. But I think the administration needs to read my book because it lays out a roadmap to make DOGE more effective. And it shows exactly where you can find these bad actors, how they're being influenced and propped up by these elites like Alex Soros, who's George Soros' son, and how you can oppose them from the federal government. So the main thing we also need to do, Congress has to step up. Trump is doing all he can right now with all these executive orders, but executive orders can be undone by the next president. Congress needs to have laws that eradicate the deep state from the administrative state. And one of the main things they need to do is go after public sector unions. Now, there are a lot of really excellent union workers who supported the MAGA agenda this time because they understand that Trump stands for workers. But the superstructures of these unions, especially the unions that are in the federal government, are dedicated to opposing Trump's agenda. And these people need to be rooted out. There is no reason, even Franklin Delano Roosevelt said that public sector unions were a menace to the proper functioning of government and shouldn't be in the federal government. Trump and Congress need to look seriously at returning to that old standard.
Okay, and what can you tell us about, DOGE from your perspective? Is it technically like part of the government? Or is it more of an outside advisory board, right? The mystery of DOGE.
Yes, it's very mysterious. We have to see how things actually come through because Trump originally said that it was going to work outside the government and advise. And, both Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy did excellent work at the beginning. And they actually arguably killed that really horrible bill that was stuck full of all these things that would have been bad for the American people. So kudos to them and kudos to Trump for working with them and getting a much better deal for the American people even before he came into office. But DOGE now is going to be part of the government. It's replacing an Obama agency. I love the U.S. Digital Service becomes the U.S. DOGE Service. And then we're going to have mini DOGEs, DOGElets in each of the different agencies.
I'm trying not to laugh, but that's kind of funny. DOGElets, I don't know.
Yeah, DOGElets. Yeah, little DOGEs. And it's kind of cute, but it's also very important because those DOGElets will keep an eye out on the ground to make sure that the woke ideology, the woke mind virus is not spreading once again in the federal government because they need to have constant vigilance, as my book explains.
Okay, and what role, does the media play in all of this and amplifying left-wing agendas inside the swamp?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the legacy media has been atrocious in the way that they cover this and so many other issues. And we've found the Woktopus already fighting back against Doge and getting favorable media coverage. Thankfully, alternative platforms like Rumble, organizations like the Daily Signal, thanks to Elon Musk, we have X as a platform for free speech. And even after Trump's entering office, Facebook is finally going in the right direction, following an X with having community notes. I don't know if I trust Mark Zuckerberg to actually follow through on everything he said, but I am really glad to see. And a recent poll showed the American people give Trump credit for Mark Zuckerberg finally opening up Facebook. So this is a tremendous MAGA victory. I think these alternative platforms and alternative voices like yours, like the Daily Signal, are going to increase in popularity, are going to resonate more with the American people. And I hope that my book shines a light. I mean, one of the big actors in my book, Alex Soros and his father, George
Right.
Soros, has been buying up radio stations in order to flood the zone with their woke ideology
Totally.
and crush all dissent. And so that's one of the main things I think. I'm optimistic about the future, but we have to keep fighting and we have to keep getting our message out there.
So I'm always curious, about the inception of something transformative. Where did this book start for you? And how
Yeah.
did you kind of conduct the research, that whole process behind it, to put all these pieces together?
So I've been flabbergasted by the influence that an organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center has in the federal government. This organization,
I'm
based on your
familiar with it.
reaction, you know them well. They demonize mainstream conservatives and Christians by putting them on a map with chapters of the Ku Klux Klan. And actually, this past year, they put gays against groomers on the hate map, and they called them an anti-LGBT hate group. This is a group of gay people, and the SPLC says they're anti-gay. But they're also demonizing anyone who disagrees with the transgender agenda, with an open borders agenda. They have anti-immigrant hate groups. And I've been following this group for a while. I wrote my first book, Making Hate Pay, The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center, about how they went off the rails and why they shouldn't be trusted. And they actually inspired a domestic terrorist attack in 2012 here in DC. But they, under the Biden administration, they were brought in everywhere, advising the Department of Education, advising the Department of Justice. And then the FBI notoriously had that memo attacking radical traditional Catholics. And, many of the great men and women of faith who supported President Trump in this cycle were proud Catholics. I mean, many of my colleagues are. I'm only not Catholic because I'm like close. I'm Anglican. But in any case, the SPLC, not only did the FBI cite them on this, but the SPLC has a track record of suggesting that if you're a true Catholic, if you follow the real teachings of the Catholic Church, you belong on the hate map with chapters of the Klan. And so that's how far off the reservation they are. And I thought, if the SPLC could have influence in the government, what other far left extreme activist groups are influencing and infiltrating the government? And when I scratched beneath the surface, I found a tremendous influence network that traces all the way back up to George Soros and Alex Soros. Groups like Arabella Advisors, they create nonprofits. It's like there's
Familiar with
dark
them.
money and then there's dark money, and that's what Arabella Advisors is. And so they're propping up this influence campaign from outside that's pushing the woke mind virus throughout the federal government. And now, their tentacles are still there. So Trump is whacking them one after another, but he has a lot more whacking to do. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But I think my book is really important for Trump and his team and Doge to look at and see the influence of these groups, which groups they should keep an eye out for,
Sure.
and how ultimately they can win this battle.
So you've seen what President Trump has done, obviously on week one, Tyler, but what do you expect in week two and beyond to kind of keep this ball moving forward? It's like a most auspicious start. And then, what comes next?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited with what comes next. I think we've had discussions that the Senate might might keep working over the weekend so that they can finally confirm more of Trump's nominees. It's been shocking the way the Democrats have been holding this back because the process moved a lot faster under Biden. And now what we're seeing is, finally, thank goodness, Pete Hegseth just got confirmed this afternoon.
Sure.
But Trump has to hit the ground running, and he has to have his nominees confirmed as fast as possible. And so I think what's starting to happen is the Senate is gearing up. Trump has started with all these executive orders, and now from what I'm hearing, he's going to pardon the pro-life protesters who are unjustly put in jail by the Biden administration. And this is a really tremendous scandal that the Biden administration did, and Trump is finally setting it right. And so step by step by step, it's a new day in America.
Yes.
But he has to actually do the hard work to make it last. And I have every trust that President Trump will deliver for the American people.
Of course.
But Congress
I
has
agree.
to back him up.
100%.
Yeah.
But what do you see with that? I mean, I think there's been a lot of rhetoric and a lot of, push out there by the base to put through Trump's nominees to make sure that they are honoring his America First agenda and putting in the people that he believes will best fulfill the promises that he has made to the American people. Do you see any obstacles, roadblocks along the way? So far, I think this has been very positive in terms of what we've seen, support for the nominees, et cetera, going forward, and a big aggressive push to back them.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Washington Post backed up, the Washington Post editorial board backed up every Trump nominee except 4. Now, granted, one of those 4 is one I have tremendous faith in to actually fight the deep state. So it makes sense that they don't like him. That was Russ Vought over at OMB. But I see a glide path for Trump's nominees. And the fact that Pete Hegseth just got confirmed really gives me confidence. What I'm also looking at is the reconciliation bill. There's going to be one big, beautiful bill, Trump says, and it might end up being 2, but he's fighting for 1. And what this bill has to do, it's going to fight the border crisis, it's going to unleash American energy, and it's going to lower taxes for the American people. I would recommend, based on my book, that it also have provisions fighting against these public sector unions and curbing some of these really horrible agencies like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and implementing a policy called the REINS Act, which would restore Congress's authority over a lot of these administrative agencies that have just gone off the walls in the past administration.
Well, that's what we hope for, that there's going to really be aggressive pushback across the board. But I think we're moving very quickly. I mean, what's your assessment of it? I think it's actually going quite fast.
It's been a fantastic week. It's hard to keep up with all the executive orders. I mean, Trump, there's this video going around on X where it's just saying like an hour long of Trump signing executive orders, and it's every conservative's desire to just watch this over and over and over again, because he's bringing sanity back. And some of these orders, like the order on fighting gender ideology, the orders reversing Biden's open border policies. These orders are going to have tremendous impact restoring sanity to the American people. And I can't wait to see them fully implemented the way that they're meant to be. We can bring back the common sense that there are 2 genders. We can bring back the common sense. He said that there's an invasion at our southern border, and he is going for emergency powers to clamp down on it, to prevent illegal aliens, and then, of course, to issue mass deportations, which the American people overwhelmingly support. And we all know the legacy media is going to rush immediately to find as many sob stories as they can to try to prevent these deportations from going through. But the American people know that this is an essential issue. I mean, I grew up in Colorado. I couldn't believe that Venezuelan gang going door to door with an AK-47 in a place that wasn't too far away from where I went to high school. It's like we weren't living in the same country anymore. And that's why it feels like morning in America with this week with this new president.
Well, I love that Morning in America, a great political and historical reference. And that is what it feels like. It's an apt phrase indeed. So promote your book. Where do they go get it? All of the above. This is your big chance.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. So yeah, I think the number one thing, you can go on Amazon, just search the Woktopus. If you Google Woktopus, it is the top result. Pick up your copy today. It's available wherever books are sold. It's also available from Simon & Schuster. It's available from a whole bunch of foreign language websites. If you Google Woktopus, you'll see you can buy it from France if you really want to. But we also have woktopus.com that's going to be launching very soon. You can go to the Daily Signal and follow me on X, Tyler2 O'Neill, O'Neil, just one L. I'm not the Orioles baseball player. I'm trying to get it as in shape as he is, but
he's trying to say he's you, I heard. Many people are saying, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, what a pleasure. I'm super proud of you. We're excited that we were able to have you on the show today. What an amazing accomplishment with an incredible book that's very timely. And like you said, all the government people and bureaucrats should be reading it as well, especially the people that are in Doge and mini Doge and Dogelets.
Yes.
But thank you so much, my friend, for being here with us today. We've enjoyed it.
Thanks so much for having me. Oh yeah, I have a crazy graphic that lays out all the research from the book that you should also check out.
Okay.
That is on my Twitter page, or on my X page, and I'll be posting it on woktopus.com.
Okay, perfect. We'll go check it out. Thank you again, Tyler O'Neill. And everyone, please go check out and purchase his new book. And in the meantime, remember to protect your savings with the Birch Gold Group. With President Trump back in office, you're going to have more money in your paycheck and more opportunities to prepare for the future. Birch will take you through the process step by step, answer any questions, and help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. And you don't have to pay a penny out of pocket. That's what we like. Text KG to 989898 today. That's KG to the number 989898. And I also want to bring you a special message from Patriot Lifestyle, where you can save more and spend less on a whole host of different lifestyle benefits, from savings on travel, identity theft, legal services, and even pet care. Take a look. Kimberly Guilfoyle here, and I'm so excited to introduce the Patriot Lifestyle Benefits Program. With our benefits program, you get a range of lifestyle benefits at an affordable price, so you can save money and stay secure. For example, as a member, you will access exclusive discounts with NB Cash Back, so you can save more on your everyday expenses like groceries, restaurants, and even auto services. And with NB Travel, you can experience more but spend less by enjoying deep discounts on flights, hotels, entertainment, and so much more. These benefits are available to you and your immediate family to use anytime, anywhere. We also offer identity theft protection, so you can stay on top of any unauthorized, fraudulent, or illegal activity. And access free and discounted legal services, so you can protect your rights and receive top legal advice without breaking the bank. Plus, enjoy peace of mind on the highway with our roadside assistance program. And even take care of your furry friends with discounts on pet food, toys, medicine, grooming, and even trips to the vet. Our program is designed specifically for America First patriots like you, who understand the importance of letting your dollars reflect your values and supporting companies who support you. And the best part of all of this, our benefits are at below market prices, so you can enjoy all of them while living the Patriot lifestyle to the fullest. So don't miss out. Visit our website at patriotbenefits.net. That's patriotbenefits.net. Thank you again for choosing the Patriot Lifestyle Benefits Program, where real benefits and real savings are our top priority. Join us today and start saving now. And you can go to patriotbenefits.net to learn more, because these programs all come at an extraordinary value and they will greatly improve your life. And now we turn to another major story that much of the media is ignoring. It surrounds scandal, cover up, and evidence of medical malpractice. It's the true story of a medical terrorist, corporate healthcare greed, and a legal system plagued by corruption. And it's a story of how a lawyer put it all on the line to expose the truth and suffered greatly for standing up for justice. Joining me now is the lawyer at the center of that story, author of The Butcher of Pakistan, W'Eric Deters. W'Eric, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you so much, Kimberly, for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let's talk about this. What is the book, The Butcher of Pakistan, about?
It is the most extraordinary story of how a Pakistani doctor came over to the United States and finagled his way into the hospital system in the Cincinnati area. And they protected him because of his Muslim background, Pakistani background. It's like DEI run amok. And at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is considered the #1 ranked Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and about 5 or 6 other hospitals in the Cincinnati area, Kimberly, he did probably 1,000 or more unnecessary spine surgeries.
Terrible.
I represented 580 of them. But the bottom line is he did 580 unnecessary spine surgeries, and these people suffer the most horrible, horrible problems day in and day out. And the hospitals, the C-suites in the hospitals actually knew that he was doing unnecessary spine surgeries, including at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and they looked away because he was their #1 biller.
That's true. It's all about corporate greed. They make a lot of money off of these surgeries when you add in anesthesia and everything and aftercare, etc. That's a very complex and serious surgery, and one that you don't want to do unless you absolutely have to. So let's talk about this, because you were brave enough to stand up and to fight for these people and expose this criminal. What is the status of the legal battle today for the victims of Dr. Durrani?
It is the most extraordinary legal battle in the history of American law, Kimberly. And it's sad that the Cincinnati area media, who is owned by the Cincinnati area hospitals, have refused to report on that. That is the importance of you giving me this platform today. So here's the status of things. The hospitals settled. They finally decided, hey, we need to settle and we'll take care of it. Durrani was insured and is insured by a company called Medical Protective, which is wholly owned by Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. And there was only $42 million of coverage. Durrani flees, and they tried to get out of paying these people money because he fled. Well, we proved that Medical Protective and Durrani committed fraud in this lack of cooperation defense. Then they tried to rescind the policy by claiming he lied on the application after 12 years. So as I'm talking to you right now, Kimberly, and you can't make it up, there's $40 million left on this insurance policy, and Medical Protective has refused to make a single offer on a single case or any type of global offer, despite that only being like $100,000 per victim. It gets even better. When we first brought the cases, and the judge would say, how come you're not paying these people these claims? It's crazy. Well, they said we needed some trials. You know how it is, Kimberly. You got to, as a lawyer, you're a great lawyer, have to go to court and we have to see. Well, usually in medical malpractice cases, and you know that, they're hard. You lose 90% of them. Well, we've won 80% of them. Amazing. $350 million in verdicts, $56 million covered under that policy, and Medical Protective still refuses to pay these people. So after 13 years and counting, we have to continue to try case after case after case. And the Ohio court system, you can't make this up. The Ohio Supreme Court has a rule that if you file a lawsuit, it has to be resolved within 3 years. It's called a rule of superintendents. They've ignored that own law that they have. So, Kimberly, we've tried about 140 cases in 12 years. We now have another 200 or so to try, and it's going to be another 10 years. And the Ohio Supreme Court just simply said, too bad, too bad. So where we are now, we have $1 billion fraud claim pending against Warren Buffett's Medical Protective Company in federal court. There's a status hearing on that on January 28th, and we'll see what happens. But we want a jury trial to tell the world what happened.
No, absolutely. Take it to the court of public opinion as well. And
Right.
also to create an awareness that people understand that this is happening, and to prevent anything like this atrocity to ever happen to anybody else. It's absolutely outrageous, especially when you think about the care and protection and trust that you put in medical professionals. For them to grossly violate that and to open people's bodies up and injure them and hurt them is beyond evil and malicious. It is demonic, and it is disgusting, and should not happen in this country or any country throughout the world. So I applaud you for what you are doing. And I want you to kind of try to encapsulate what you want everyone across America to really truly know about the story. I know it tugged at your heart, and you're a prayerful man and a man of God. And also, personally, the price, Eric, that you face, the consequences you face for taking on this case and telling this story and exposing this corruption.
Well, fortunately for America, we just saw the 47th president installed, and I'm very fortunate to call you and Don and Eric and the president friend. And what's amazing about it is, and the reason why I bring that up is what the president went through when he had to stand up for himself. I can relate to that, because here's what happened. When I filed these lawsuits against these hospitals, and you're talking about the most powerful individuals, the largest law firms in the Cincinnati area, and they control the media, they control the court system. They went after me, and they went after me trying to get my license suspended. My license did get suspended, but I retired so I could put together a legal team to continue to fight this cause. These cases cost me personally $2 million a year for the team. These are spine cases. So we have to bring in neurosurgeons, orthopedic surgeons, neuroradiologists. We have lawyers. We have people who prepare the cases. And we bring this team into the courtroom to fight this battle. So it's very expensive. So I've made that sacrifice. In addition to that, the vilification of me is unbelievable. I have to endure it from the local media. I have to endure it from the local legal community, the local court system, where they try to portray me as the bad guy when I'm fighting these people. Now, I went to jail, actually, Kimberly. I mean, this story. Literally, this story
Insane.
has the most amazing anecdotes. There was a gag order in place, and this judge was named Judge Schweikert. And I stood before him, and he wouldn't give these victims their trials. And I called him evil to his face. And he threw me in the Hamilton County Justice Center for 15 days. And I got out after 8 days. But I literally went to jail and spent 8 days in the Hamilton County Justice Center fighting for these victims. And I am so honored that these victims trust me, have been loyal to me. We have this great bond. But to get to after I've laid that groundwork, what I want everyone across America to know, that there is happening right now in Cincinnati, Ohio, not just like Dr. Death, where he performed a bunch of surgeries and a few people died. This guy killed people. This guy committed massive malpractice. He lied. He would say their radiology was, this radiology here shows that you got severe stenosis. And everyone who stood up and fought back, and including me, they come down hard. So you're literally fighting the world. And right now, Medical Protective has thrown up every possible block that they can in the legal system. And we just keep outsmarting them and keep fighting them. And that lawsuit for fraud, I think will go to trial probably in 2025, and we'll finally get them. But this story shows how corporate healthcare has taken over our healthcare system, and it's about money. It's not just about healthcare and medicine. It's about how much money we can make. And there's stories all across the United States, Kimberly, you alluded to it, about these spine surgeries. They make a ton of money off of them. And it's just sad. Oh, one final thing about this. That he preyed upon the lowest socioeconomic group in the Cincinnati area, and he was the #1 biller of Medicare and Medicaid. And the government did come down on the hospitals, and they had to pay back a bunch of money. But the world needs to hear this story.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to your powerful voice, your passionate voice as an advocate for victims standing for justice, the world shall hear it. From my understanding, so the state of Ohio, and I want to get into some of the legalities here, does require, you sort of touched on this, every civil case to be over in 3 years. Now, these proceedings have gone on for over a decade. What's going on here?
It is insane. When we filed these lawsuits, we asked beginning in 2013, Kimberly, for group trials. And a judge, his name is Judge Robert Rubin in Hamilton County, Ohio, put all the cases together, and he was going to have 3 big trials, and they'd be over by 2017. Maureen O'Connor, and you had her picture up there. Thank you for doing so, Drew. Maureen O'Connor, the Chief Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court, got elected by massive insurance money. And she took Judge Ruhlman off the case the morning of a mediation, split the cases all up, then brought in Judge Schweikert, the guy that threw me in jail. Judge Schweikert refused to hold group trials. And we told him, we said, wait a minute, there's 580 victims. Why should somebody file a lawsuit in 2013 and their case isn't over for 12 years just because there's so many? And we said, get one judge, put them all in one room. Now, Judge Guy Reese, who currently is trying the cases in state court, is giving us group trials of 2 and 3. And he's doing the best that he can. We don't have a problem with Guy Reese. The problem is the Ohio Supreme Court is the ones that administrates the courts, and they just don't care. I mean, it is bizarre, Kimberly. If you filed a lawsuit in Hamilton County or anywhere in the state of Ohio, any county, and you filed that lawsuit in 2013, it's over. 2014, it's over. 2015, it's over. 2016, it's over. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. Your case is over. Yet, the Durrani victims is not. Right. And Warren Buffett brags, good timing there. Warren Buffett brags that he gave $5 billion to charity last year. Yet, a measly $40 million to pay for these victims doesn't happen. Everyone needs to know that Warren Buffett, Medical Protective, the CEO of Tim Kennedy, would rather these people die. By the way, Kimberly, over 100 have died waiting for their trials. Another one died last night. Another one actually died last night. They don't care. The court system doesn't care. And Warren Buffett doesn't care.
Oh, I feel terrible for these families, but, hopefully you can bring them some, comfort and some closure on this in the right form of justice. And I want to talk to you specifically about the media and the press, because I came to you and said, hey, can we cover this? Like, what is the latest? What's going on with this case, with this story? I care deeply about this as a former prosecutor, always fighting and striving for victims and to give them a voice. But we haven't seen the press cover this in the way that they should. And many Americans aren't even familiar with this case, with this outrageous scandal and corruption. Why is that?
It amazes. It's kind of weird, Kimberly, and I think part of it in the local Cincinnati media is because I'm a Trump supporter, and you, who have been on the inside of MAGA, know what that's like. The vilification that you get from being a Trump supporter. So it's like, well, he's a Trump supporter. But you brought up the fact that you're a prosecutor. Do you know that despite all of the evidence that we had about the hospitals knowing, the federal prosecutors and the state prosecutors did not prosecute them? But what happens is in the Cincinnati area, and by the way, all the local news is now owned by national news. We have 4 TV stations and 1 newspaper, and they're all owned by nationals. The second largest advertiser for them are the hospitals. But for them not to cover what's going on with medical protective is damn near criminal. Let me give you a couple funny things. It's sad things, actually, Kimberly. I know you've never heard of this before, because I never heard of it before. The jury verdicts, the civil jury verdicts, are actually sealed. In the history of America, no civil jury verdict has ever been sealed. And the whole purpose of punitive damages is to tell the world about it all. And they've actually sealed. Now, how is it not a national news story that Warren Buffett wouldn't pay these people $40 million? You have 580 people with unnecessary spine surgeries. They can't get a trial over 12 years. It's going to be 10 more years and going. There's a gag order, which I'm violating right now. I don't care. A lawyer went to jail fighting for them to get their trials. I mean, how is this not a national news story, or at least a local news story? And it's flabbergasting, Kimberly. It's just wrong.
Yeah. And give us the current status right now. Like, what can we expect next? What would you like to see happen, and in what order?
Well, what's going to happen? First off, thank you. I hope this leads to more publicity, because, as you know, that's what they hate. They hate negative publicity. Medical Protective wants to hurt these people in silence. But there's a hearing on January 28th in front of Judge Michael Barrett, a federal judge in Cincinnati, and he has set the fraud case against Medical Protective for what's called a discovery conference. You know what that is? That's where, like, hey, where are we? And we'll see what happens there. But I think that based upon the discovery that's gone on in that case, that I would expect Judge Michael Barrett to set that fraud case against Medical Protective to trial sometime in 2025. And that is when we will get our justice. Because can you imagine, Kimberly, a jury listening to 400 people who's covered by Medical Protective telling their story, and it goes like this. What happened? Unnecessary spine surgery, 2009. When did you file your lawsuit? 2013. Did you go to trial? Yes. When? 2020. Did you win your trial? Yes. Did you go to appeal? They appealed it. Did you win your appeal? Yes. Did they pay you? No. I mean, and what they did, this is a wild story, Kimberly. They told us Durrani wasn't cooperating when he fled to Pakistan. For 5 years, we tried to get his deposition. The judge scared him a little bit, so they offered us a deposition, Kimberly. And at his deposition, Dr. Durrani from video says, I've always wanted to defend these cases. I always wanted to cooperate. So Dr. Durrani, the indicted fleeing felon, basically hung Medical Protective out on their lack of cooperation defense. And that's the fraud that they committed against us, trying to claim that, he's not cooperating. when he was. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And Kimberly, I don't want to share these stories, although I did share one with you and Don at Patriots Day Freedom Fest. It's so funny what I have to do day in and day out, raising money for this cause. I mean, it's $2 million. Mm-hmm. And the money that I made from the hospital settlements is all put back in. And I got a lot of dear friends who are helping me. But if this was a Netflix, and we've had some discussions, but I want the top of the line. I don't want somebody that, they think they can do a movie. When this does become a movie or a documentary on Netflix, HBO, whatever, some of the stories will blow you away. Like a Cincinnati Children's Hospital doctor, Dr. Charles Melman, blew the whistle on him and they told him to shut up.
Terrible.
Then they went after him. Four doctors in 2009, Kimberly, wrote a letter to the Ohio Medical Board to complain about him. The lawyers for the hospital, Charles Pangburn, said, don't send it. 4 doctors tried to save these people. And while they vilify me, Kimberly, when I got him prosecuted, that saved thousands and thousands of people from his scalpel. But my biggest, besides fighting for these victims, my biggest accomplishment is the people I saved from him.
Agree. Can you imagine? But for you, and the grace of God, what could you even possibly imagine? So people want to get more information and help you, fight for justice and for these victims in the case. And so many of them, God rest their souls, may they rest in peace. Let us not allow their suffering to go unnoticed and unremarked in history. So I think it's important people know where to go, give the website, etc., for any information where people can get involved or follow this story, since sometimes the mainstream media is not doing so.
There is a website called butcherpakistan.com, and you can also email me at eric@ericdeters.com. Easy to remember, eric@ericdeters.com. And if you're somebody who would like to donate financially to the cause, if you're somebody who has connections in the news media, if you're somebody that's got connections to podcasters, whatever, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's a dear friend, and she given us this is the first. You're breaking this story, Kimberly.
Thank you.
You are breaking this story for the country. Hopefully it leads to the justice for these victims, because as you mentioned, if you can't beat them in the court, well, we're beating them in the courtroom, but they hate negative publicity, don't they? They hate negative publicity.
Well, they've gotten the facts here today, and the facts do not look good for them. And we just need to, persevere to make sure the story gets out there, the public is aware of it, and justice delayed is not justice denied. My dear friend, Eric Deters, thank you for what you do. You're a champion of justice and a voice for the victims.
Thank you, Kimberly. I cannot thank you enough. Hearts filled with gratitude. All of these people are watching, and I can tell you, they thank you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure and honor to be a proper journalist and get the news and the facts out there, especially about a case as egregious as this. Eric Deters, thank you. Be well.
Thank you, Kimberly.
And make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. It's all of you who make this show possible, along with our incredible sponsors. We're very grateful for them, like the 1775 Coffee Company. We talk about it all the time, right? We don't compromise on taste, quality, or values. And 1775 coffee is brewed to literal perfection. It is crafted with precision, and it is built on patriotism. The farm-to-cup process means there is quality, authenticity, and sustainability from start to finish. And all the beans are ethically and exclusively single-sourced. So try 1775 coffee today. Go to 1775coffee.com/KG for 15% off your first order. And in closing, President Trump is working nonstop to deliver for we the people, we the American people, everything we've been pushing for and praying for, talking about and spotlighting. Well, it is now turning into reality. It is the lesson in how leadership matters and elections matter more than ever, and just how much courage it takes to enact needed change. So I want to personally thank you so much for joining today on this important episode. Please be sure to download the Rumble app, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, like and share, and tell all your friends so they know exactly where to find us. And please also be sure to follow me across all platforms: X, Truth Social, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Stay tuned to Rumble for all the very latest breaking news coverage. I hope you have